some music for the good intro so I don't get copyright struck. Okay. Okay, guys. So, we start this what if off when Deku was 2. He was living with both of his parents at the time. And yeah, so one day when Izuku was talking with his mother, Inko, when they're all done playing, goes to Izuku and says, "Why don't you go play with your father?" As Izuku quickly runs up the stairs to go to his father, but Izuku is quickly met with Hisashi typing on his computer very fast, and Izuku just looking through the crack of the door sees a black screen with a bunch of green numbers being typed in onto it, and Hisashi with some weird mask on him, and Izuku's like, "What's Dad doing?" As he eventually opens the door like, "What are you doing, Dad?" As Hisashi quickly tells him to leave, as Izuku quickly leaves like, "That looks so cool. He typed in all those big numbers." I want to be just like him someday. And the next day, Izuku, Inko, and Hisashi went to go get groceries. But something happened on the way back. The family was attacked by a villain, a very strong one. And when it was attacking all three of them, with its sponge quirk, we'll say, it quickly absorbs the attack of Inko, trying to use a little knives at it, but that fails. And Hisashi steps back and starts putting his fingers on this little green thing that appeared randomly on his arm. And Izuku is fascinated with it, like, "Whoa, that looks so cool." As the villain gets a big word that Izuku can't read across its arm, and the villain can't use its quirk anymore, and Hisashi then uppercuts it in the face, knocking the villain out and taking it to police care. And yeah, Hisashi's quirk is a hack quirk, obviously, so it makes sense. And yeah, also the next day, when Hisashi was coming home from work, there was a car accident, and Hisashi died. And Izuku, watching the news with his mother, as the news says, "Local businessman found dead in his car after car crash. 1 hurt, 1 killed." The name of said victim would be Hisashi Midoriya, and he had a wife and a child, Inko Midoriya and Izuku Midoriya. So, my best condolences to them. This is your local news, signing off. Bye. As Izuku starts crying, he's like, "Dad?" As Inko just hugs him and says, "It'll be alright, Izuku." As 8 years later, when Izuku was 12, he had a quirk by now. It was his same dad's hacking quirk, but a lot more advanced. He could even probably hack All Might if he tried. Maybe. But Izuku right now wasn't in the best condition. His stepfather wasn't the most nice to him, and Inko was always at work, so it was usually Deku and his stepfather, which he would usually completely neglect Izuku, And Izuku would just be left in his room to do whatever he wants. And yeah, Izuku also developed the habit of hacking into systems to get money because, his family's kind of very tight on money ever since their literal cash source died. And right now, Izuku wasn't in the best state of mind either. He was a little depressed, and he would usually wait for his mother to come home, but she never talked to him much anymore. So 5 years later, when Izuku graduated on his online education, because why not, instead of being a hero, he wanted to follow some other path. Because with his quirk, he would never, at least he felt, get into hero school. So Izuku one day went out to see what he wanted to do with his life. And while he was walking, he saw a man in an All Might suit, but it was a sweater. And he was fighting some mysterious villain with his group. And he defeated the villain, but the cops quickly chased after them. And when they were running away, the cops called them vigilantes. And Izuku's like, so a discount hero. That sounds fun. As he quickly sees somebody with this very cool jacket and bag and kicks them in the face, roundhouse kicking them, and takes all their stuff. And Izuku's like, yeah, I don't care, as he quickly runs away. And with the small little cash he did have, he bought some food from the dollar store and got some for him. And after he got some food and ate up, he went out on duty. And most cops at the time would assume that Izuku was a full-fledged hero because some heroes were quite short, as you'd imagine, and some were just starting out. So Izuku looked like a normal one. But he did look a bit shady, having his hood donned and a little shoulder bag. We're not saying purse, guys. We are not saying purse. And Izuku, seeing this, thought that maybe I could do something with this, as he quickly runs over to a cop like, is there any disturbances in the area? As the cop is like, yes, there is. There is a fight currently downtown. We need as much heroes as we can. There is this villain called All for One fighting All Might right now. As Izuku's like, All Might, that name sounds familiar. As he quickly dashes towards the situation. And when he gets there, he sees this man in white hair fighting All Might. And Izuku immediately jumping in, and All Might's like, stay out of this, hero. I can handle this. And Izuku immediately hacks All for One, obviously. And All for One, trying to use one of his strength-enhancing quirks to hit All Might, it's a normal hit. And that's when Izuku kicks him into a wall like, I can help you also, All Might. As All Might's like, impressive. What's your quirk? As Izuku's like, my quirk is hack. I can hack someone's abilities and completely shut their quirk down. That includes literally everybody. And I can sometimes do a special thing. And that's all you need to know for now. As All Might's like, understood. So, is he down? And All Might's like, there's no way. As All for One gets back up like, why can't I use my quirk? As his arm just won't budge at all. And it says hacked, engraved in all caps in green on his right arm. and his right arm is also completely paralyzed. And Izuku's like, good, that was a tight one. And All Might quickly punches him in the face back into that wall, and he goes through an entire building, actually. And All Might, jumping right back through it, starts beating down on All for One, like, this is for Nana, Master, and everybody you slaughtered, as he starts beating into All for One. And Izuku, watching this from a distance, is like, I think I might have done enough. That should last for about 3, 2, 1. As a massive shockwave goes through the air, and All for One, quickly regenning, is like, that pest. And he looks back to All Might, who wasn't expecting the shockwave, so he'd been a little hurt from it. And Izuku, coming back over, is like, of course, as he quickly puts down a little device, which he liked to call a translocator, and he tapped something on his little jacket that he thought was nifty, and it was 3 knives that came out of a department. And he's like, what kind of jacket was this man rocking? As Izuku quickly throws them at All for One, which all get into his neck, and he's like, what the heck? As he quickly feels a sharp pain in his neck, and it was actually very poisonous knives. And Izuku's like, I must have robbed the best jacket person ever, because he was quite strong with this jacket. As Izuku also hacks All for One again. And Izuku just starts beating All for One until he's unconscious. So Izuku is like, I just defeated the number 1 villain. Yes. As All Might's like, so kid, are you a registered hero, or like, what's your name? As Izuku's like, oh, my name's Techno, and I'm a vigilante. As All Might, his smile quickly depletes, like, oh. As Izuku's like, yeah, bye-bye. As his body quickly warps back to where he used to be. And All Might's like, of course, that's how one gets away. As he breaks All for One's left arm just to make sure. And he throws All for One in jail. And that will be quite major plot points later, guys. And yeah, one sec. Continuing off, so around 2 years later, Izuku had a good amount of money from just supporters who, whenever they would, whenever Izuku would help them, they'd also give him money because they knew who he was. He was Techno. And Izuku, after 2 years of this, had gained a lot of strength, and he'd gone on to some websites, and he was the top-ranked vigilante on an unofficial website, obviously. And he was considered to be the number 8th strongest hero, quote-unquote, in Japan. And yeah, Izuku was quite ecstatic about this. Like, I'm so happy someone puts me that high on their list. As he quickly chomps into his Big Mac. And Izuku's like, I'm so surprised I'm still this skinny. As he quickly gets up as he hears a scream across town. With his very advanced now suit that he got from a buddy. And he throws his translocator as far as he can, and he actually teleports right in front of the crime scene. It's like, that was nice. As a sludge villain is attacking this blonde-haired kid, and Izuku immediately hacks the villain, and the villain just literally gets into a pool of slime, and Izuku's like, okay, as he takes around 8 minutes to eventually find 3 water bottles that were empty, and the sludge villain still being in this puddle because he'd grown stronger with his hacks. And Izuku quickly put the sludge villain into the bottles, and when he closed all their caps, All Might arrived on the scene like, oh, it's you, Techno. And Izuku's like, well, you should be thanking me. I helped you in that fight 2 years earlier. And All Might's like, I had him. All you did was nearly endanger yourself. And Izuku's like, I deactivated his quirk. What do you mean endangered myself? You were about to be destroyed. Flashbacks of All Might on the ground, about to be literally punched into oblivion by All For One. And All Might's like, but you aren't even a registered hero. And Izuku's like, I don't really care though. As Izuku, seeing one of his emergency translocators flipping the switch on, like, so what do you want? I saved the kid. As All Might's like, I want you to come with me and we can work something out, maybe. As Izuku's like, I don't think that's how this works. And you can take the kid, and I can be on my merry way. As Bakugo, being a fan of Techno, actually pulls out some cash and gives him like $30, and Izuku's like, oh, thank you. As he quickly pockets it. And I'll keep this in mind, guys. Izuku is aged 3 years behind from in the main story. So, say Bakugo is 17. Wait, no, I phrased that wrong. He's 3 years older in this series. So, Izuku is currently 20. And when the fight happened... Hold up. No, it's a 5-year time skip. Anyway, yeah, just for canon lore, because 5 years since the All For One versus All Might fight. Just clearing this up in my head. So, Izuku fought All For One when he was 15, became a vigilante at 15, and has lots of supporters now at 20. Just want to clear any of that out before someone attacks me in the comments because they did not listen to this entire thing while I rant. Anyway, yeah, on to the video. Izuku just looks over to All Might like, well, I don't want any trouble, sir. As he pushes Bakugo to in front of him, and he's like, well, bye. As All Might's like, wait. Don't run. You are a little fugitive of the law. You have stolen from somebody 5 years ago. And Izuku's like, I stole somebody's jacket 5 years ago. What do you want from me, mate? As All Might's like, it's still a criminal offense. You're considered a villain in the law's eyes. As Izuku just like, oh, so that's where this is going. As he taps on his translocator and is warped back, and All Might just growls like, of course, I couldn't even get to my point. And Izuku, at his facility, is like, oh, that was interesting. As his assistant quickly runs over to him like, are you okay, sir? As Izuku's like, oh, yeah, I'm fine, Dave. As, is the new technology working? As Dave's like, yes, it's working perfectly. as Izuku quickly puts on the new jacket and taking the old one off. And Izuku's like, so it has the feature I wanted. And Dave's like, precisely. As Izuku goes into the testing room, and a fighting robot comes out of the doorway, and Izuku taps on a button, and the robot just says, enemy not found, enemy not found, enemy not found, as Izuku has turned invisible. And Izuku is like, oh my gosh, he actually did it. As Dave, getting Izuku out of the jacket quickly, is like, so it seems it works, yes? And Izuku's like, it works amazingly. The top tier robot we even trained up couldn't see me. And Dave's like, yeah, I'm amazing, I know. And yeah. So, Izuku is like, well, I'm going to go to spy for some intel, because there's this guy I met today at work, and I think he wanted me to do something for myself, but I clearly had something opposite in mind. But I'll go along with his plan without him knowing. That man was All Might, as Dave's like, oh really? How do you oh right, the translocator. And Izuku's like, precisely. So, I'm going to go undercover to UA. I'll learn how to use my quirk better. I'll put a fake name, fake ID, all that. And they'll never know I'm 3 age over the limit. And yeah, I'll get some intel on what's happening in there. It'll be a fun 3-year journey. See ya, Dave. Do work on those enhancements for the knives. As Dave's like, yeah, see ya, boss. As Izuku quickly walks out of the laboratory, and with his very high talented training, runs over to UA very quickly and applies there. And they tell Izuku, like, well, sir, in the next 3 months, you'll be able to take the entrance exam. Best of luck to you. And Izuku walks away, feeling happy, like, now I'll have an official alliance. Why did I say alliance? No, I'll have an official license. As, yeah, that's where I'll be leaving it off, guys. This was really fun. So, this is Itaku, signing off. Bye-bye. Okay, guys, so, onto the video. Okay, so, we start this off, right when, after the time skip to when Izuku is now walking up to UA. Like, okay, so, Reggie got those upgrades. That seems to be it. As he gallops into UA, and he's like, this'll be fun. As his name, well, his fake name, if you guys want to know, would be Oliver Calloway. And during this, Izuku, he aces the entire written exam, and he gets around a 94, which was obviously the highest. And Izuku, going into the hero route, obviously, was he went into the exam site with everybody, and that's when a kid suddenly approaches him. It's someone called Katsuki Bakugo, and he's like, loser, get out of my way. As Izuku is like, what did you just say to me? As Izuku quickly pushes him away from him and gets his fists out, as Bakugo's like, I don't need this right now. as he quickly walks away. And then President Mike just suddenly says, "Start!" And everyone starts suddenly running, but Izuku immediately throws one of his translocators and gets in front of everybody. And Ida notices that he's even faster than him. And when he hacks one of his robots, he starts just destroying them all with his quite large katana. And he starts breaking all of them with his sword. And Izuku also pulls out his gun and just starts destroying all kinds of robots. The teachers assumed that was his quirk, but no, he just had those on him. And Izuku, immediately running into a couple 3-pointers next to each other, he uses a group hack, which just hacks all of them. And Izuku destroys it, obviously. And yeah, so near the end of the exam, obviously, he hears a cry for help. And he quickly scurries over there. And he finds somebody named Ochaku Uraka waiting for him. Like, "Please help me, sir. My leg is trapped under this rock." As Izuku immediately lifts it up, as Uraka's like, "I can't move." As the robot stomps over to Izuku, and Izuku's like, "Oh, this is what caused it." As Izuku's like, "No problem, I'll save you." As he quickly throws his translocator as far up in the air as he can. And he gets right above the 0-pointer. And getting tons of energy in front of him, he throws both hands out to the side. And he does a complete hack, which is an area of attack, which just completely hacks your enemy, shutting it down. And Izuku, now seeing the robot falling down, he uses his katana and slashes its head clean in half. And he grabs Ochako quickly and runs over to Recovery Girl just before getting a couple points. And that's when President Mike says, "Exam is over." And Izuku is like, "I'm looking forward to the results." Wait a minute. Oh, right. As he quickly texts Reggie, like, "Remember, 4 weeks in the mail. Tell me what class I got and what, if I even got it." And Reggie just replies with, "Okay, boss." And 4 weeks later, obviously, Izuku is assigned Class 1A. And Izuku is like, "Happy I have the strongest one." As he quickly rushes over to Uea. As he gets there and just admires the place, like, "This'll be fun." As he walks in, and he quickly grabs his eye when he walks in, like, "Stop, not now." As the pink little teardrop on his eye starts, like, glowing, and Izuku quickly hits it with his hand and is like, "Whatever," as he walks into class. And he's greeted by Ida and Bakugo yelling at each other, and Izuku's like, "This class is going to be just splendid." As Uraka comes up behind him like, "Oh, that white hair. Yeah, I recognize you. Hello. Thank you for saving me during the exam. My name's Ochaku Uraka. What is yours?" As Izuku is like, "Well, I'm Oliver Calloway." And Ochaku's like, Nice to meet you, Oliver. Well, I hope we can be great friends. As they start talking, and Aizawa quickly, well, no, not quickly at all, sluggishly, crawls into the room with his, sleeping bag and says, "That's 8 seconds too long. We'll have to work on that." As Aizawa directs the class into the locker rooms to get their uniforms on. And, yeah. Anyway, when all of them get outside for the little activity they were expecting, when Aizawa was explaining the rules, Ochaka's like, "What about orientation? That's literally going on right now." As Aizawa was like, "Heroes don't need that kind of stuff. If you want to go to that, you're not a hero worth my time." As Izuku's like, "This guy's gonna be a doozy." As I was like, "You there, kid? You got first on the exam. Go first, Oliver." As Izuku's like, "Understood, sir." As he quickly gets out his hand and he's like, "This should work." As he gets out like his hacking tools, and instead of like hacking his body, he hacks his hand and it gets like supercharged. As Izuku, getting a very fast Mach 12 arm speed, throws it as far as he can. And as he throws it as far as he can forward, he suddenly gets hit on the back of the head. And he falls forward like, "What was that?" As he sees the ball right like indented into his head. As Izuku's like, "That definitely hurt." As he falls unconscious. And Aizawa is shocked, like, "How did he get... what? It came around the entire Earth? Impossible!" As everyone is just shocked and amazed. As Ochaka's like, "That's probably better than mine." As Izuku is given the label Infinity. And Izuku, coming back out after the third exam had already been finished, continues his exams. And Izuku ends up getting first place out of everybody. And, yeah. So Aizawa looks over to Minoru Mineta like, "You." As Mineta's like, "What is it, sir?" As Aizawa was like, "May I ask you, Minoru, what do you look most forward to in the act of heroism?" As Minoru was like, "Of course, all the hot babes." As Aizawa was like, "You're expelled." It wasn't meant to be real, but that only proved my point. Some of the heroes that we're getting recently are only in for the fame, what he said, or the money. So, I want to thin out the population and, get real heroes that'll actually do their job for a good reason. Understood? As everyone's like, "Sir." And yeah. So the next day after that, instead of Aizawa greeting them, it's All Might. And everyone's kind of surprised, like, "Oh my gosh, All Might." As Izuku in his disguise is like, "Thank God he doesn't actually recognize me. Hopefully he doesn't notice my purple eye." As All Might is like, welcome, students, and today we'll be doing Hero versus Villains training. Go get on your fantastic hero costumes and meet me outside. As everyone quickly grabs their hero costumes, as Izuku gets on this big jacket, but no one thinks that it'll do anything, but in reality, it's a very strong jacket that enhances his hacking ability, along with lots of tools. Anyway, when All Might is announcing the teams for simplicity's sake, we'll have the same teams as in the normal canon anime. Okay, so Izuku now, what was I gonna say? Is like Ochako. Okay, so Bakugo and Tenya Ida. This can work. As when All Might starts the match, he's like, students, get in starting position. The game will start in 3, 2, 1, start! As Izuku rushes into the building and sees Bakugo waiting for him, like, got you, loser! As Izuku throws a knife right at him, and it catches his hair literally on a wall, and it sticks him on there. As Bakugo tries to grab at it, Izuku quickly knees him in the chin, and he also hacks Bakugo so he can't explode him. And Ochako also makes his legs float, so now he's floating in midair, as Izuku also ties his hands behind his back with the capture rope, and Bakugo is eliminated. And Tenya, hearing this on the intercom, is like, this is not going to be good, as he gets in starting position. And when Izuku and Ochako eventually find it, they were met with a knee to the face from Tenya to Ochako. And Ochako immediately gets knocked out by this, as Izuku's like, Ochako! As Izuku gets out his sword, he's like, you'll regret that. As Izuku slashes at Tenya's armor, and Tenya's like, that won't do anything to me. As Izuku slashes straight through the entire armor piece and actually cuts Tenya. And Ida's like, how is your sword that powerful? As Izuku kicks him in the face, and he's like, oh, so you have a speed quirk, as Izuku quickly hacks him. And Tenya, trying to knee Izuku in the face also, jumps into the air with a knee in front of Izuku. And as he goes to power up his legs, nothing comes out, and Izuku smacks him onto the ground, and with 2 knives puts both into his chest, and he's like, now stay down if you don't want any more trouble. As he walks over to the bomb, and Ida's like, no! As Izuku touches the bomb, and he's like, that's it. As All Might announces, the hero team wins! And yeah, so the next day after that, they get on a bus with Aizawa and the entire class, and they go to the USJ. And everyone was discussing quirks at the time, and Suyu also brings up, like, Oliver, your quirk is very strong. How is it that strong, may I ask? Have you been training? And if so, for how long? And Izuku's like, I've been training for my entire life with my quirk. Lots of people assume I could be a villain, like, yeah, I could be, but I choose not to, because That does not go with my ideals. As Suyu's like, interesting, Midoriya. Galloway. As Izuku's like, yeah. Anyway, when they eventually get to the USJ, 13 greets them as like, welcome students to the Unforeseen Simulation Joint, or USJ for short. And today we will be doing, as she starts blabbering on about the rules and stuff. And as she opens the door, everyone comes crawling in and is like, oh my gosh, as she explains all the zones. And Kirishima blurts out like, hey, they even have fake villains too. This place is so cool. As everyone looks towards the center like, what do you mean fake villains? As I was like, those aren't fake. As they see a blue-haired man appear through the X's, like, there you are. As the portal quickly expands as Shigaraki and all of the villains come out. Even this beast with its brain exposed, the eye of which was very buff. And Izuku, looking at this, is like, this is not good. As he throws a ninja star up into the air and then kicks it down at them, and it quickly expands into size before becoming giant and then hitting the entire crowd. And Izuku also throws a translocator down into the fountain. And he's like, they'll never see that coming. As Izuku touches something on his jacket and he goes invisible. And Aizawa also jumps down to the villains and starts fighting them, as he tells 13 to protect the students. And Izuku also quickly rushes over to get All Might. But by the time he arrives back with All Might, he sees a bloodied and battered Bakugo and Kirishima on the ground along with Aizawa. And Izuku's like, what happened? As All Might is like, who's hurting my students? As he immediately goes towards the Nomu. And they have the same fight as always in the anime. And Izuku watches as All Might yells, Plus Ultra! As he defeats the Nomu, sending it through the glass dome of the USJ. And Shigaraki's like, we have the final boss right here in front of us. Let's do this, Kirigiri. As they quickly charge at All Might, and Izuku, using his translocator, yells, complete group hack, as Shigaraki falls to the floor like, I can't move, as he's very confused on what's happening. And Izuku looks over to him like, he forgot my quirk. He never saw it. As Kirigiri also just falls unconscious. And All Might ends up arresting the two, but all of them thinking they were safe. The very next day, that prison was actually broken into. It wasn't Tartarus, it was like the very one below. But only Shigaraki got out, and obviously All for One led the charge. So that was a bit worrying. The criminal was already out and escaped. So, yeah. I think that's where we'll be leaving off. Yeah. So everybody, this is Itaku, signing off. Bye-bye. Okay, so we continue this off right after the USJ. So, after a couple hours, a couple days, they return to school. They have a normal day, but at the end, Aizawa tells them they'll have a week to get ready for the UA Sports Festival. And everyone's shocked, like, we already have something to do? As Minetta's like, hey, why can't we just cancel it? As Aizawa was like, they can't cancel this big of an event. The entirety of Japan basically sees it. As Minetta's like, aww. And yeah. Anyway, a week later, Izuku and everyone pour into the USJ. And once they all get on their gym uniforms, they all come out with all of the classes from UA High School that are in first year. So Izuku, who had the most points, he tells them all a pledge. And when he starts talking, he's like, I want to have a great battle today. I don't want anyone who's too overconfident. I don't want to be underestimated, you know? I want to have a good fight. Yeah, that'll be nice. As everyone starts clapping. And yeah, they're all happy with that explanation because it wasn't a Bakugo explanation. Like, I will win. Yeah. So, when Midnight spins her wheel and it lands on obstacle course, and then that loads in. And yeah, Midnight tells them all to start. And they all pour into the entranceway. And Todoroki, being Giga Brain, he quickly gets out of there, freezing everybody. And Izuku, throwing a translocator up and teleporting up, quickly hacks everyone. And even hitting Todoroki barely with it, and he trips. And Izuku, who turned himself invisible, is just secretly right behind Todoroki, riding on his ice with ice skates. Don't ask me where he got those. He's cool like that. Anyway, Izuku, right behind Todoroki. When Todoroki suddenly stops, Izuku hits him in the back of the head with his ice skate, and obviously that hurts Todoroki. Izuku then hits him into one of the robots, and Izuku quickly runs past both of them, knocking them both down onto Todoroki. And when Izuku's far enough gone, Todoroki quickly gets out of the robots, burning a hole in them, and being angry, like, where the heck did he get an ice skate? And we'll rename the man again, Bob. Bob is listening with Izuku, like, okay, boss, the ice skates worked, right? Sorry, guys. And Deku is like, yes, they definitely did. And Izuku then suddenly with obviously, guys, I do want to point out, he has mechanical parts, like, on him. Kind of like Somber from Overwatch. And Izuku, now being imported another thing in, Izuku's like, what's this? As they're jump boots. They give you a big jump. He called them All Might boots. So when Izuku got to the massive gap, he quickly jumped over the entire thing, and the boots disappeared. And he went back to fast boots. And eventually Todoroki and everyone else were catching up. But behind Izuku was Bakugo, actually, having got past everybody. And yeah, when Izuku got to the minefield, Bakugo was right behind him, like, I'll get you, you nerd, as Izuku hacks him while he's mid-flight, and Bakugo gets launched into a mine, sending him upwards while being hacked. So, yeah. And Izuku quickly thinks, crap, that might kill him. As Izuku throws a translocator, but he doesn't use it. It hits Bakugo's back and sends him back down to the ground. He just gets really hurt by the fall, nearly shattering a rib, or 2, or 3. And Izuku obviously gets first, and he tells Bob, like, thanks, Bob, that really helped. And he's like, it was all for you, boss. And yeah. So, when Bakugo eventually gets there, like, you nerd, how did you do that? How you stopped my quirk completely? As Izuku's like, it's my quirk. Hack. I can basically hack your body to where it doesn't produce the required materials for your quirk. AKA, you stop sweating. And Bakugo's like, that's so stupid. And yeah. And when everyone else finishes, Todoroki getting third, Midnight announces with her wheel. And yeah, they get the cavalry battle. And they explain all the rules, as always. And Izuku ends up getting the same team because no one wanted to be with Izuku. And yeah, Uraraka immediately came over like, Deku-kun, let's be in a team together. I want to prove to you that I'm strong. And Izuku's like, whatever. And yeah, so the cavalry battle actually goes around the same. Just whenever they were getting attacked, people got hacked. And Todoroki, though, we'll say near the end, when Ida went to go get them, Izuku, who was trying to execute a hack on them, their speed was just so fast that they got through before the hack was done and quickly swiped the headband. Then they were hacked, though. And Izuku's like, get them, as Ida couldn't move at all. And Todoroki's like, move, Ida, you need to at least run. As Uraraka sends Izuku flying in. When she drops him, Izuku snatches the headband back like, yes! And Todoroki then puts an ice wall behind him like, nowhere to go, Izuku. And Izuku's like, this is how annoying. As he ties it around his head and then group hacks midair. As Todoroki was about to launch a massive ice blast at him, suddenly stops. As Katsume, with her rockets, quickly get him back over to them. And Izuku's like, it's Hatsume. That was amazing. Your jetpack got me back. And she's like, you bet they did. And yeah, so, yeah, that's basically how it goes. Yeah, so, Izuku, being super excited for the final tournament. So when it starts, Shinso's team, well, Shinso himself goes against Izuku. And Izuku thinking, okay, so let's approach this how the tail guy told me to do it. Just don't talk to him. As when the battle starts, Shinso immediately pops a question like, must be lucky having such a strong quirk. You're stupid. As Izuku, like, whatever. As his body immediately tenses up and he gets controlled. As Shinso's like, that was unexpected. As he says, okay, leave the ring. As Izuku's body mindlessly walks out of the arena. As Izuku in his head was pleading like, no, stop. And, yeah. So, about that, Izuku, he doesn't stop though. He doesn't have one for all, and he's not an overpowered schmick kebab. So Shinso actually wins. And yeah. Okay, so we fast forward to the Todoroki versus Shinso battle. And when it starts, Shinso tries to pop a question, but Todoroki pays no attention to this. And just covers him in ice fully. Shinso's like, that's about what I was expecting. As Todoroki is declared the winner. And obviously Todoroki still wins against Ida. And we end up getting a repeat of the sports festival in the canon. Except Izuku got eliminated by Shinso. And I'd still imagine that Todoroki loses to Shinso. I mean, no, Shinso loses to Todoroki because Todoroki, as he was in the anime, was literally cold as ice. So yeah. Izuku, being a little salty about his loss, tries to challenge Shinso to another fight sometime. But Shinso, knowing he'd easily lose now that Izuku knew, declined, obviously. And yeah, so when the offers all came in, Izuku got a couple from some agencies, but Izuku had one that was an exceptional agency, but not many wanted him because, obviously he was out in the first match. But Izuku ended up going with Manuel, just like Ida. And Ida, not expecting this, asked Izuku, like, why are you going with Manuel of all people, like I am? As Izuku's like, well, he was the best agency here. And he was kind of the best hero that I knew here. No strong ones offered me at all. As he looked deflated, and Ida's like, oh, that sucks. And yeah, so that entire thing goes about the same as you'd imagine. Basically the exact same as canon. When the Stain arc happens, they still beat Stain. Because Todoroki, Ida, and Izuku, they obviously win. So, yeah, you can't really change that. They get yelled at by the police as always. And yeah. So, when they all get back, they study for about a week and do some hero training. But, Izuku still has, we'll call his hero name, by the way, Hacker Man. Because, why not? Or we can call him Incognito. Yeah, we'll actually call him Incognito. So, our hero, Incognito. Anyway, they immediately do the final exams. And Izuku nearly flunks the verbal exam. Well, just the written exam. And he wasn't exactly the smartest, so he ended up being one of the people who studied with Momo. But he did still pass. Anyway, Izuku, thinking, yes, only robots. And then being shocked, like, wait, it's not only robots? And everyone's like, nope, it isn't. And when Izuku finds out, I'm paired with Bakugo to face All Might. No, actually. We'll say Todoroki and Bakugo against All Might. And, secretly, Bakugo has one for all. We'll say that. So, Bakugo and Todoroki's match we'll do first, and then we'll do Izuku and Momo's match against Aizawa. So, we start with Bakugo's matchup. When the timer starts off, Bakugo immediately questions the book. Icy hot. Why didn't you use your fire in the sports festival? As Todoroki's like, I'm not looking down on you, Bakugo. I refuse to use that old man's power. As Bakugo and him start arguing. Before long, Bakugo is quickly kneed in the stomach by All Might. As Todoroki immediately starts throwing ice at All Might. But it does literally nothing to the All Might. He literally just punches through it. As Todoroki quickly replenishes it. It's just stalling at this point. But when Bakugo does come back, he quickly uses his Howitzer impact. And when he does, it does not much damage to him. But since it's one for all pact, it does a ton of damage. And it's aimed for his weak spot. So when this hits him, All Might is hit into a building. And he starts coughing up blood with one little smoke strand coming off of him. And All Might's like, I have to end this quickly. As he comes out of the building, kneeing Todoroki in the face, breaking his nose, obviously, and sending him way up into the air. And Bakugo's, this is it. As All Might's like, I have to end this quickly, young Bakugo. As he leaps at him like, Detroit Smash! As Bakugo tries to counter it by getting to the side, but it ends up hitting him in the gut. As Bakugo is hit, All Might immediately is hit by a torrent of flames. And Bakugo still being sent into the road and making one massive hole there. And the crater is quite big. So Bakugo is obviously out for the count. And Todoroki's like, I have to actually use this. As his entire body from the left side erupts in flames and the right side in ice. As he starts trying to fight All Might. But resistance is futile, and they still end up losing. So, yeah. Izuku, watching this, is like, how did Katsuki get so strong? Amazing. As he tells Bob before the fight starts, like, Bob, I need maximum defense here with very fast and speed and lots of attack. As Bob is just like, why not max out everything? As Izuku gets lots of liquids put into him from the stuff inside of him. So Izuku, now being very much augmented, goes into the fight with Momo like, okay, Yaoyorozu, so what's your plan? As Yaoyorozu's like, do you have a plan? As Izuku's like, I was kind of depending on you for that, sorry. As Yaoyorozu's like, here's what we should do. We should both use sheets, and she explains the entire plan from the anime. And it goes about according to plan until Yaoyorozu misses. But Izuku comes out and immediately uses his quirk to hack Aizawa. And Aizawa's like, you may have done that, but that doesn't mean I'm entirely useless now. As Izuku says complete hack as he uses two hands. As Aizawa can't move, and he's like, problem child, what the heck? What happened? As Izuku quickly puts him in the capture tape, like, we won. As the complete hack then eventually wears off. And yeah. Oh, while this is happening, he's updating his frequency back at his base with everyone's information that he's acquiring. Yeah, so, Izuku ends up getting his, he passes, obviously. And, before they do the summer exam, they do the provisional hero licensing thingamajigger bopper. Izuku gets it, okay, guys. Long story short, he gets it. That is too much of an arc that I don't remember. I've only watched my hero 3 times, guys. I'm sorry. Anyway, Izuku, now being quite happy with all the information he has, when they go into the summer training camp, everything's well until one night. Villains attack. And Izuku having a translocator back at his base is like, they'll never know, I guess. As before he leaves, he goes to a UA student, being a Kaminari, who was, we'll say he was on his own, outside of the you failed thing, and he was going to the bathroom. As he was exiting, Izuku, using his very sharp nails, put the hole through him like, it wasn't meant to be, friend. As Izuku threw him far into the forest. Before that, complete hacking him for about 24 hours. And yeah, Kaminari dies, okay. I'm sorry, but I thought of the Pikachu first. Anyway, that was the nickname for Kaminari, by the way. And Izuku, now coming back to his base, is like, I'm back, Bob. As Bob is like, welcome back, sir. Is there anything you need me to do for you? As Izuku's like, yeah, I would say. Do you have that technology done yet? As Bob's like, yes, I do, sir. As he equips it into his system after some surgery. And Izuku now is infinite. Invisibility time. And yeah. So, over the next month, he watches as All Might on the news defeats All for One. Izuku, being fascinated, thinks this is interesting. All while this time, he was defeating villains as a vigilante. And yeah. So, everything from that point on happens as it would in the anime, except replace Izuku with Bakugo. Bakugo still does get captured, except, Izuku is replaced by Seishinzo. And One for All is in Bakugo, so, yeah, that's all that really changes. Overall is defeated by Bakugo. Gentle Criminal is defeated by Bakugo. Yeah, that's about it. Same with Muscular. And yeah. They end up all just going in the same. So, we end this off. This awesome What If. Thank you guys so much for your great support. And yeah, this is Itaku signing off. Only 48 more subscribers, guys. Let's get to our 1,000. So, this is Itaku signing off. I love you all. Bye-bye. Do-ba-do-do-do-ba-do. This is the outro music. Do-ba-do-do-do-ba-do. This is the outro music.